And I was like, well, I could be a hostess or whatever, and I also sing too. And they were like, oh, you sing? And I'm like, yeah, yeah, yeah. And so the owner was like, oh, can you sing something right now? And I was like, okay, sure. So I just sang like Someone Like You by Adele, and I just sang it like a cappella. And he was like, oh my, that's like she just did it on the spot.
Yeah. It's like,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to Hollywood. Like, just
Here's
there's
a
your golden
golden ticket.
ticket. You ready?
Yeah.
All right, perfect. Welcome back to Unlimited. It's episode 50. First of all, we've made it 50 episodes into the podcast. We did it. We made it. And let's hope the show continues past episode 50 with a great episode right now with a great guest. Before we get started, make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up. And yeah, you can follow Unlimited Pod on Instagram as well. Yeah, down below up there. And yeah, we have an unbelievable guest today. So yeah, I want to introduce her, but yeah, when I first started this podcast, like I made a list of people that I wanted to have on. You were definitely one of the first people that I wrote down on the list. I knew I had to get you on at some point. So it makes sense now, episode 50, it's a big one. So let's introduce her. She's a singer-songwriter with over 50,000 views on YouTube. Last year, she released her very first single titled Alone, and it was recently entered in this year's CBC Music Searchlight. Most importantly, she has one of the best voices you will ever hear in your life. It's Shanaya Patel. Shanaya, welcome to Unlimited. How are you doing?
Hey, what's up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Like I said, I've been trying to get you on for a while, or have wanted to get you on for a while.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that this worked out perfectly. And yeah, how are you doing today? How's school been, or not school, but like your spring so far after school?
School's been good. Spring's been good. I think we're only like 2 weeks into spring or summer break, whatever it's called. So
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
been going good. Trying to keep busy. Lots of music stuff going on, but yeah, it's going good. Yeah.
For
How about
sure.
you?
It's going good. Yeah, exactly. Just trying to keep busy. Doug Ford extended the lockdown as well today, June 2nd now. So
Isn't it great?
I know,
Yeah.
right? Can't really do much besides working on yourself, I guess, essentially just from home and trying to grind out as much as you can. But you started like an internship recently or something, right? And you got to get like a certain amount of hours. So how's that going?
Yeah, we have I go to Humber. I'm at Humber, so we have our summer work term, and basically this summer is all about getting 160 hours of work. So whether that's, performing, or I guess virtually now, because you can't really do anything anywhere, but performing virtually, you can, write grants, make social videos, stuff like that. So it's all about getting hours for that and just gaining experience. So hopefully, some things come up where I can
Yeah.
contribute to that in some way. But yeah, that's the goal till I guess August now. Yeah.
That sounds a lot of fun. Like it's right up your alley.
Mm.
And I mean, it's 160 hours. That's kind of seems like a lot, but that's probably going to fly by for you because like you'd probably be doing it anyways. And now
Yeah.
you can just do it for hours. So that
Yeah.
works out pretty well.
Yeah. I'm hoping it flies by. I think a lot of the things that I have lined up, hopefully we'll be able to contribute to that too. So I'm excited. I'm excited to see what happens, especially because it's all virtual right now, and we'll see what happens during the summer. If things open up enough to be able to perform live music, I don't know. I hope so, because it's been
Right.
so long.
For
But
sure.
yeah, I'm hoping that I can get some of that going this summer, because that would be amazing.
Let's hope for the best. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm hoping that things open up soon. And yeah, if you can be able to perform in person, that would be great. So, but yeah, you
Mhm.
got a lot going on, obviously. You got with the internship, and then, well, it's not really called an internship, I guess, like workplace is, or
Yeah,
like work. Yeah.
workplace is good. Work placement,
Okay.
maybe.
Work
Yeah.
placement. And then I guess like this past year for you has been pretty crazy with
Mhm.
the release of Alone
Yeah.
and that whole song and the public's reaction to it. And especially now with CBC and the Searchlight going on, that's really exciting. And we'll get into that stuff later. But I kind of want to like go back to like the beginning. Like your entire music career has been pretty stunning, but I want to start off like right at the beginning because like I've known you for a long time, but
Yeah.
I don't know if we've ever like talked about like you as a musician ever.
Mhm.
So I'm really excited to kind of like pick your brain and learn a lot about like what goes on behind the scenes and like learn about Shanaya Patel as an artist and a musician. So
Sure.
um I don't know if you can answer this question, but if you can, think back to, when you were very young, what was like your very first memory of just music?
Oh my gosh. I
Yeah.
mean, I every time I go back, it's kind of like this thing where I don't know if it's with a lot of people, but sometimes it's like I can't really remember the exact time I was like, okay, I really love music. I think it was just always something that I loved when I was a kid. Like I don't yeah. I mean, I can tell you, the first time I performed was when I really decided I liked to sing and perform, but music itself, I think I've just always loved it. It's always just been something that was played in the house, when I was a kid. I would like my parents would have MTV on. I think it was MTV or whatever, music videos on the TV, and I would
Yeah.
just dance around. And then, like in the car, I would just listen to the songs and sing them back. And it was just something that I always really loved, and I kind of tried to dive into that more when I was older, because as a kid your parents put you in all of these different things like sports. I was in sports. I know I can't probably shouldn't be playing sports now. I'm not very good at it, but music but like your parents put you into all these different things. So I tried soccer. I did ballet for a little bit when I was younger, dance, different kinds of things like that. And then my parents put me in piano, and I liked music. I liked to play music, and especially as a kid when you're tapping things and it's making sounds like super interesting to you. And
Right.
so I
Right.
think
Yeah.
I gravitated towards that. But I think just music itself, it was just something that I always knew that I loved to do, and loved to just experiment with. And I just loved singing, and the idea of like, hearing my favorite song and be able to sing it back. And so I think it's just something I grew up with as a kid that I really loved.
That's really, really cool. So,
Yeah.
yeah, like I guess like you mentioned your performance, like your very first performance, that's kind of when you knew that like you might have something here and you want to like maybe take it and see how far you can run with it. Um,
Yeah.
right? Like, and I guess
Yeah.
it's kind of worked out, ever since then. Like you're
Yeah.
on that trend upwards.
Mhm. Mhm.
What was your first performance? I'm curious, like where was it and how did you even like get that gig, or was it a gig or was it just something small or
It was a recital because at the time I was put into singing lessons at this little music school in Mississauga. And I think it was like I was 6 years old, so I was pretty young. And I was taking singing lessons at the time, and the recital was at University of Toronto, Mississauga, just in one of their theater
wow,
halls or something.
6 years old?
I know.
Wow. Okay.
I know. It was crazy. And the thing that I love about that experience was I didn't really notice what I was doing. I was just kind of like, oh, I'm just, gonna sing when it's my turn. And so, anyways, it was a recital, and all the parents were there sitting up in the seats, and I was on stage, and I sang Part of Your World from the Little Mermaid. You know that
Okay.
song?
Yeah, yeah, I know that song. Yeah.
So that was like the first performance I ever did, and I remember just being up on that stage. Like I remember it so vividly, just being like having the sheet music in front of me with the mic, and I was just singing. Like I just remember I didn't even notice there were people there. I didn't even notice people were watching me or listening. I just kind of I was just singing. I remember just loving to sing and making sure I was getting the words right and singing into the mic and just having a great time. And I didn't really realize that there were people watching me. But that was the moment where I think also my parents were like, oh my God, like, okay, she can kind of do this. Like, this is really interesting to see. And I think from that point, I knew that I really loved to do that. And it was something that I wanted to pursue further. And I think my parents also, that like clicked for them as well. And then from there it was just keep on going with singing, and seeing what else there was for me to do.
That's such a cool moment. Like
Yeah.
performing in front of like the parents in the stands and like at a university like UTM,
Mhm.
like that's not a small venue really.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
that and the cool like the Little Mermaid, was that like one of your like favorite movies like growing up, I guess, at that
Oh,
age? Like that was one of the
of
few
course.
songs that you knew. So
Yes.
that makes
Princess
perfect
movie?
sense.
Yeah, of course. I didn't even know how I chose that song, but of course. Princess movies? Yeah, of course.
The song choice is key, right? Like for
Oh,
auditions and whatever, like
the
you,
most
if you pick
important,
a good song, like the audience is gonna love it.
for sure. And especially if you love it, it just makes the performance a whole lot better. So that definitely contributed for sure.
For sure. So like
Yeah.
what happened next, I guess? Cause so you mentioned like that's kind of when your parents like thought like, hey, we kind of have something. So was
Mhm.
it was it you that kind of realized at that point too that you might want to pursue it, or was it more so your parents like, we should get her in classes right now, like she's great, we
Mhm.
might have something here? So what was kind of next in line?
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of both. I mean, I really loved doing that, and I think my parents have always been like super supportive, and my whole family, of everything that I do. So I think for them it was like, okay, let's try and put her into these things and see what else, she likes to do in music. So and it was definitely me that was like, oh, I really love to sing and I really like to do this. So after it was I went to another music school called Miriam School of Music, and I was there for about, I think, 10 or 11 years, give or take. Yeah, it was a long time. And I actually started there doing music theater because, again, you're a kid. So, just trying different things. Um, and I did music theater for like 2 years. And I was like, okay, no, I don't, I like singing. Singing is what I like to do.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, from there it was just I began taking singing lessons and then performing in recitals there, and then that led to meeting different people. And then when I was a little bit older, Miriam had this competition. Basically, it's like different musicians that compete, and then you get the prize. I think was like recording time and a video or something like that. So it was like when I was 11, and then from there, that was when I met a little more of higher ups in that music school. And then those people became my mentors. And then that's when I started playing in bands. And oh, this is like I could tell you like the whole story of the timeline if that's, if you want to talk
Let's
about
do
that.
it. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So, yeah, when I was 11, I did that competition. And then that's when I started meeting a lot of the higher ups in the music school. And then those people became like my mentors. And then that's when I started taking songwriting and just I was really exposed to different kinds of gigs. And that's actually when I really started doing a lot of like restaurant gigs and going out and performing,
Right.
playing in bands, like doing a lot of festivals and stuff like that, which I have done for years now. But that was like really the point when I started to do that, putting stuff up on YouTube, and all of that kind of started around 11. Yeah, it's been this whole journey of meeting people and just trying to do different things, a lot of, putting yourself out there. Yeah, that was kind of the turning point, I would say, for me in terms of doing more shows and stuff like that. But yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like I think like the biggest thing I took out of that is just like connections, like knowing people and putting yourself out there as much as you can. And I guess from a young age, like that YouTube channel, I was looking at it, like you got a lot of views on some of those videos, like the covers that you did. Like I think
Yeah.
one of them was like issues,
Yeah,
and
that
that
was
one
a
got
great
like a lot, like 15K or something like that.
Yeah,
Um,
that was a great one, and that one was nominated for MTV's Cover of the Month in, I think, a few years ago.
oh
Um,
wow.
yeah, it was like a whole MTV reached out to me after I posted that, and they were like, "Hey, we have this thing called MTV's Cover of the Month, and we would love if you could like put your cover up on there because we would love to have you nominated." And I was like, "Oh, that's sick!" So that whole thing that became like one of the covers that I did that like was really like that became a little bit bigger too. And then people would vote, and I got like 4 million votes or something like that.
Wait, what?
Yeah,
4 million?
yeah, because
That's
you could,
insane.
yeah,
I
because you
didn't know
could,
that. Wow.
yeah. It was like in 2017, so it was a little bit ago. But yeah,
Right,
like
right.
you could basically just vote anytime between the rounds, I guess, and you just had to press like clap as many times as you can for
Okay.
like a certain amount of days. And so that turned into like 4.1 million or something like that. Yeah. It was
That's a lot
crazy.
of people, Shania. That's a lot of people that like the
Yeah.
cover. So
Yeah.
wait,
It
did you
was
end up
super
getting
cool.
that cover? Like you won or?
I don't think I won. No,
Oh
I didn't
wow,
win for sure. But
4 million.
there
That seems like a sure win.
no, I don't know what I don't know. I didn't win that, but it was still a cool experience. I
For
mean,
sure.
have like MTV reach out to me, and yeah, it was just a cool experience. And that again, like when I mean, we'll probably talk about this more, like connections and stuff, but just putting that up on, socials and stuff, and then people from around here see it, and it's just a lot of that, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, it was a really cool experience.
And you've grown like a pretty big following now. Like if you look at your Instagram, like you got like 5,000 followers. And then like I see you on like TikTok as well, trying to grow with
Trying
your
to grow.
covers. I mean,
Yeah.
TikTok, you can blow up on TikTok. If you have like
Yeah.
one viral video, then that's how you draw in all the followers. So just keep going at
Exactly.
that, and
Yep.
and
It's
YouTube.
it's a process for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's talk more about I guess Miriam music and how much that has been like a big influence on your life. And you've obviously probably taken so much away from 10 plus years there.
Mhm.
So I guess that's the question. Like, what have you learned throughout those 10 years, and that you still like use today when making music?
Yeah. A lot of that time that was like that was when I was really young till about, I would say, probably like 14 or 15, is when I like just kind of grew up a little bit more and moved on to other things. But yeah, that was like a really big chunk of my life. That was super, it was like where I a lot like developed artistically and musically a lot, right? Because from literally, I think I started going there when I was like 7 or 8, right? So, or
Hmm.
yeah, probably younger than that. So it was a long time. And yeah, it was a really great experience. A lot of that was where I really got a lot of lessons in, with different musicians and different singers, and just basically building up technique and learning how to use my voice. And then as I mentioned before, like I got into songwriting when I was 11, so that was a really pivotal point for me too, because that opened up my whole creativeness about me. Um, and yeah, that's when I started to learn to express myself in that way, and that was really really cool, for me to be able to do and to learn, and just to have mentors to teach me different ways of like songwriting and how to write songs and how to write a certain way, or yeah, and just being in the studio kind of for the first time when I was like pretty young too. So all of those are really big building blocks for me that were basically a lot of my foundation of my musicality and art, like, and the artist I am today because of that time. But yeah, it was a really great time for me to be able to develop artistically in that way, and had so many amazing people that I know out of there. It was, and the musicians that I met that I still work with now, that I'm working with like literally right now, some like of my producers or people that I used to play with when I was 11. Like it's it's just a lot of people that I've met through there too, are really great connections that I've had for a long time too. So it was a really good period of time where it was just learning about how everything works, from a really young age. So yeah, a lot of lessons, a lot of mentors, a lot of songs written, a lot of technique, a lot of performing, a lot of everything.
A lot of
Yeah.
time spent together. It sounds like a really like tight
Mhm.
knit community, and the
Oh
friendships that
yeah.
you've like built there have carried on now and are
Mhm.
still working with them. So
For
that's
sure.
obviously that's great.
Yeah.
um I just recalled, like, I remember going to a concert, or I think it was a concert or like a competition or something, and you were
Mhm.
singing, and
Oh yeah.
it must have been through Miriam music, maybe your school there. And you sang Alicia Keys, If I
Yeah.
Ain't Got You. Was
Yeah.
that through Miriam music, or was that through something else? Or
That's the competition I was talking about when I was 11. Yeah.
oh, okay, perfect.
Yeah.
There we go. Yeah, no, I remember that so
Oh yeah.
vividly, and like I don't really like I remember my mom telling me about that at the time,
Mhm.
and I don't think like I knew that much about like how good you were at singing
Mhm.
at that point. But then
Yeah.
like after hearing that performance, like I was like blown away. Like you're really, really good.
Thank you. Oh.
And like obviously now, like whenever I hear you sing, like it's great. Like you got a great voice.
Thank
But you mentioned the songwriting, and it
Yeah.
was around like 11 years old you said you kind of started
Oh yeah.
songwriting.
Yep. 11.
What was the first song you wrote then? And was it
Oh
hard? Like how was that experience like? Was it really difficult for you? Like
no.
writing? No?
Yeah, that
Yeah.
experience was like one of the best memories I'll ever have. And then I wrote my first song with my dad actually. Um,
Okay, Ron. Shout out Ron.
Ron's yeah, Ron's secretly a songwriter. Yeah, he'll always have that credit.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is
um,
that song ever gonna see the light of day?
it did
Oh, it
actually.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I know. Not a lot of people know this. You have to be like, yeah, I don't. Yeah,
You have to be a super fan.
I Yeah, but I don't even know how many people I told about it. Again, I was like 12. So I
Right.
don't know. I don't remember. I was in middle school. Who remembers? But yeah, no, I wrote that for a song with my dad. It was called Blissful.
Oh, you know what? I've heard this song. I have heard it.
I think all of you have heard that. Yeah, 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 definitely. Like if you've known me for a long time, you definitely heard that song.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I wrote it when I was 11 with my dad. And I remember like I wrote the chorus in my room. My dad he was like, "Okay, what about this line?" And I was like, "I don't know what that means." He was like, "No, I think it goes. I think it goes." And I don't know. I think he made up the title too because I was like, "I don't know what that." Like I was like 11. I was like, "I don't know what that."
Right.
Anyways, but it was just a
Just
great
sing it.
memory.
You'll sound great. Just sing it. Just sing
Yeah,
it.
he's like, "It's fine. Just do it." Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. We wrote that song, and then with one of my like songwriting teachers, one of my mentors, Mike Syracuse, he was like basically my biggest mentor out of Miriam, that I had and still have. And he was the one who really got me into songwriting and playing with bands and all of that. But as a songwriter, yeah, he's the one who really gave me those foundations. So I brought it to him and he like made all the instrumental parts and taught me the chords and everything like that. And then we went in the studio with somebody that he knew at the time, and then we recorded it, and that was my first time in the studio too. So it was a great process. Like literally like I wrote it in my room and then we recorded it in the studio, and yeah, it was just a great, and then we did like a little video for it, and
Right. I
it's
remember
on it.
that.
Yeah. I'm sorry you remember that. No.
Is that on
Um,
YouTube too? That might be
no,
on YouTube. No, you
not
take it down.
anymore.
Ah, okay. I was just gonna pull it up, but
Oh
no.
my God, no. Yeah. It was on iTunes for a bit too. Yeah. It was great though.
Wow. Okay. So
Yeah.
that was like your first banger of a song, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was very like if you can imagine any kind of like a pop star Disney song, I would say.
Okay.
Kind of like that. Yeah,
I mean,
like
those are great
Selena
songs.
Gomez, Miley Cyrus, like younger, very like about friends and life. Like yeah, I love it. It's like one of my best memories ever of doing that.
That's so good, and it's good that you like share that moment with your dad too, and like he was a
Yeah.
part of the process of writing your first song. That's really cool to
Yeah.
look back on now and how far you've come, and that's a cool memory to have.
Yeah.
Um, what about music videos? Because like you
Mhm.
mentioned, Blissful kind of had a video to it, and Alone Now you
Yeah.
shot a music video for that. How important do you think it is for artists to have like a visual aspect to their music as well, and kind of promote their song through a music video or through like other like types of content?
Yeah, I think it's one of the most important things when you're trying to I mean, like Alone is I loved that experience. That was a really great experience. And that was also like all together was a very like teachable moment for me, just kind of again trying to see how everything works, because now the music that I'm making and the things I'm doing are kind of a very different vibe. But that, yeah, I think visually it's so important to have something to go along with your music, because that's how people identify with it and how they relate to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And to be able to also, as I'm saying, identify, like to be able to cross market, so if it's on YouTube, the same video you'll see on like your Spotify canvas, like
Yeah.
when you play a song and that little video comes up on Spotify or like on Instagram. And it's just super, it gives your listeners and the people that are listening to your music and your audience just a very, like you can personalize that, like that's your aesthetic. That's Shania. Like that's the look, that's the vibe. So I think it's super important to have all of that. And it's also like it's a fun part of the creative process that I think a lot of people don't really not pay attention to, because obviously everybody can see the video, but like it's really cool to put your weight on that for a second and kind of see how you can make that personal. And like for example, like Taylor Swift, I know she does a lot of like Easter eggs in her videos. So like it'll be like little hints in her videos to like her other upcoming albums or music,
Okay.
and then her fans like find it, like just stuff like that. You can be so creative with it, and I think it's such an important part of what you do as an artist, and how you because it's not, a lot of times it's not just the music, right? It's like it's everything else. It's the look, it's the vibe, it's the visuals, so it's super important.
it tells like the story, right? Like
Yeah.
even like the song will communicate the story that you're trying to tell, but like having that visual and like even like most music
Mhm.
videos, right? It's not like the song is playing the whole time throughout the
Yeah.
music video, or there's like dialogue, or there's just parts where there's like acting involved. So yeah, it really just
Exactly.
helps, I guess, spread the message of what you're trying to
Yeah.
tell.
Telling the story for sure. I love that. Yeah. You're just, yeah, exactly. And a lot of times, like, obviously when you make music, you tell people what it's about, and you obviously want people to leave it up to their interpretation sometimes, depending on, the song. But yeah,
Yep,
like you can make a whole storyline out of it and like help people really understand what you're writing about and what you're actually feeling, and putting that basically it's like a movie, you're just adding to the storyline and adding the visual so people really can see what was going on in your mind when you were at that time writing that song. So it's
for
super
sure.
important. Hmm.
And that must be fun for you because I think like you really enjoy like being in front of the camera. And it like I guess for artists like some might just prefer like just strictly audio. I don't know
Hmm.
if that's wrong or if that's right, but like some
Yeah.
might just be
No.
comfortable like off screen, just them and the mic. But like you seem really
Mhm.
comfortable in front of a camera as well. And like music videos, I'm sure like you're always on Instagram, like doing your covers in front of the camera. So I think just having that visual aspect is really beneficial,
For
and
sure.
just
Yeah.
just for people to see your face, like
Yeah.
and see what's coming out in a different way. So
Exactly. Yeah, for sure. I know people like I know both sides of it, where I know some artists like just want to kind of be on that audio side and just make the music and put it up there and kind of market it in a way that is cool for them, and that's totally cool. I think that aesthetic is really awesome, and I think it's also can be like super personal, and I think it's so cool. And for me, yeah, I do like to be, in front of the camera, and I like to engage that way. Because that's just part of my brand and just kind of who I am. And I think, yeah, I don't know if I'd ever be able to just do the audio thing. I mean, like, nothing wrong with that because I think it's super cool. And
yeah,
like some of my, yeah, like I know so many artists that do that too. But I just, yeah, like for me, I love to be present there, and I love to have that kind of connection with my audience and the people that, follow me. And yeah, I love that. I love to do that. It's been something that I've always done, so I think it's always gonna be like that for me.
I like that. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's worked out really really well for you.
Yeah,
Um,
thanks.
What else we got to talk about? So obviously Humber was a big part of, I guess, your next transition into life. Did anything happen like in between, like you finishing Miriam and then going into Humber, like your high school years? Anything big happen then?
Yeah, well, I stopped going to, well, not stopped, but like I had grown up a little bit more, and, gotten a lot out of Miriam. And then I started going to, I study now with a vocal coach. Her name's Marla Joy, out of Toronto. And she's like the best ever, best vocal coach ever. And she's been a really big part of the artist that I am right now. And since I was 16, we've been working together, and it's been like one of the best experiences for me. And just to be able to grow artistically, with her as my vocal coach and as a mentor to me, it's been amazing. And yeah, in those years, I think 16 and until now, and going up, I mean, yeah, that's kind of like, you're in your prime teenage years, I guess you would say, right? Like just that high school time where everything's happening, and you're growing
Hmm.
up. And I think that was also a really fun time to be a songwriter, because you're just writing about like just everything that's happening. I mean, like now I do that too, but it's just a really interesting time. And for me, that was a big part of like artistically speaking, that was like a big part of me developing my songwriting skills and seeing how kind of what I like to do and what I don't like to do when it comes to songwriting, or what I like to write about. Yeah, and it was just a good time filled with like a lot of performances, a lot of, making connections, a lot of that whole social process of doing Instagram and doing, all of the things that you got to do right now. And just, yeah, it's been a good time, that chunk of space. And then, yeah, getting into Humber, I mean, that was a really great experience as well. Should we get into that?
I think here I got one more question before we
Oh,
jump
yeah,
into
yeah.
that.
Okay, okay.
Um, but yeah, like obviously it sounds like you wrote a lot of songs, I guess, in high school then, because it sounded
Mhm.
like you had a lot of stuff to like relate to, a lot of material that you could have written down.
Yeah.
Also, I know you've performed like a lot of places, like all around North America. What's
Yeah.
been like your favorite experience or your favorite venue to have performed at, and what song did you perform?
Oh, okay. Um, there's a lot. I mean, I I've done that whole I've done, a lot of the playing in restaurants and stuff like that. Those are some like my first kind of gigs were restaurant gigs. And I even like I have a lot of different kinds of memories that I like to go to when I get asked this question, but like a lot of so like for a restaurant one, it would probably be um I used to work at a restaurant called Fired Up in Port Credit, and I was actually a hostess there. But I like it was my first job when I was 14, and I came in
Started
and
them young, yeah.
I started young. Oh my
14 years
god,
old on
14
this
years
on the
old.
stage at 6 years old, job at 14.
Start everything young, man. That's
Yeah,
just that's just how the life that's just how my life has gone. Yeah.
yeah.
Start everything young. Yeah, musically. Um yeah, so my first job was as a hostess, but I went in there with my parents because I was 14. I didn't really, like job at 14, right? So I went in there and they were just opening. Like they were still they were under construction, like the restaurant hadn't opened yet. I was kind of just like, "Hey, like I would love to work here." And they were like, "Okay, what do you do?" And I was like, "Well, I could be a hostess or whatever, and I also sing too." And they were like, "Oh, you sing?" And I'm like, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." And so the owner was like, "Oh, can you sing something right now?" And I was like, "Okay, sure." So I just sang like "Someone Like You" by Adele, and I just sang it like a cappella. And he was like, "Oh my, that's like she just did it on the spot."
Yeah, it's like,
Yeah.
hey, you're going to Hollywood. Like, just
Here's
there's
a
a golden
golden ticket.
ticket. Yeah.
Yeah. So I ended up getting a hostess job there, which is so fun. But then once they like started getting going in the summer, they would have a guitarist that would come and sing every like Thursday night or something, whatever, for like 4 hours. And I was like, I went to my owners and I was like, "Hey, like, can I do that? Like, can I sing? Because I'm a singer." And they were like, "Oh my God, that'd be so cool." So I would be hostessing I would have like a 5 minute break where I would just go to the singer and be like, "Hey, do you know the song?" And then I would get up there and sing for all the people having dinner. And he would play with me and we would just jam a little bit for like 10 minutes. And then I'd go back to hostessing and like
Oh my
see people
gosh.
at their tables. Yeah. So much fun. And then I ended up being entertainment, like just entertainment for a few years after that. And kind of took that spot that he had there. And then I became like the entertainment, which was like so fun.
Wow, that's so
Full
good.
circle. Yeah, that was like one of my favorites. And then, oh, okay, one more. Because I know we got a lot of questions, but
No,
yeah.
knock yourself out. I want to talk. I want to hear it. I want to hear this.
Yeah. So one more was, I mean, like and these are like just spontaneous things that I feel like are my favorites because I love all my performances and everything. But one of my favorites was I was on a trip in Europe. We went to like Paris and London, and we were in London. And I think it was like one of the first few days that we were there, and we were just sightseeing. This is we being my family and I. And we were in Trafalgar Square in London, and I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's like there's
I've
like
been to London. I haven't been there, I don't think, though.
okay, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's yeah, I don't even know if I have a picture anymore. But I'll show you later.
Sure.
But yeah, we were in Trafalgar Square and we were just looking around and there was a lady just she was like busking. She was just sitting singing with her guitar in the middle of the square and just jamming and whatever. And she had the speaker and when you see like people just jamming on the street somewhere busking, which is like so cool. I love when people do that. So anyways, I went up to her and I was like, "Hey, like I'm a singer. Can I sing something with you?" Or I think it was me or probably my grandma, because my grandma or my dad, because they love to do that. Like, "Oh,
Right,
she's
right.
a singer. Like, do you want to?"
How old are you at this point?
I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah, 16. And yeah, so I was like, "I'm a singer. Like, can I sing with you?" And then she's like, "Oh, okay, yeah, for sure. Like, do you know the song?" And she started playing "Say You Won't Let Go," by James
Right.
Arthur.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, I know that song. So anyway, she started playing it and then I started singing it on her mic. And it was such a cool thing because I started singing with her and then, or she was playing the guitar and I started singing. And then all these people started like gathering around. It was like the coolest experience ever. And like all in this square. And there were so many people like taking videos and like taking pictures. And yeah, I sang like the whole song. And yeah, it was like such a cool experience because it was like so spontaneous. I just came up to her and I was like, hey, can I sing with you? And yeah, and then people were, giving her tips and she was like, hey, like this is my CD. Yeah, it was just one of the best memories I'll ever have of playing in London like that, like just so spontaneous. And then, I just finished the song and packed up and started walking around again, like
Right.
everything is normal.
That's
But
so good. It's just like a go for it attitude,
yeah,
like just why not? Just like, hey, you got a guitar? I'm a singer. Can I sing? Doesn't hurt to ask. And then like you got the whole crowd there too. Like that's a
yeah.
really cool experience and like it's good publicity for her. Like
Mhm.
that sounds like a really, really cool experience. And I'm sure you got like a big standing ovation by the end of it. That's a
Aw,
good song too. The
It is,
Say
yeah.
You Won't Let Go.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we were talking there, we mentioned like we made an American Idol reference, the golden ticket.
I
And I,
know. Yeah,
and I remember even thinking like a long, long time ago, like,
yeah.
what if Shania just like wins like American Idol or wins like Canada? I know there was like Canada's Got Talent
There
at one
was.
point.
I auditioned
Weren't you
for it.
exactly? You auditioned for it. What
Yeah.
happened with that? Because I was gonna bring that up, like, because you
Yeah.
could have won. Like
Aw,
seriously, you're that good. So
thank you.
what happened with that?
I mean, I was super little. Like I think I
Right?
was
Yeah.
10 or so. I don't even remember, honestly. I think I was 10. But yeah, I mean, I think again, like a lot of with Canadian shows, sometimes it's like sometimes I think they had it for a year, but also like that kind of show is very like any kind of talent, right? So
Right.
it was kind of like I guess a little harder in that aspect to be like a 10-year-old kind of singing and I don't know,
For sure.
you know it was kind of a young thing and I think they only had like one like season of that. But yeah, yeah, I think there was only like one season of that. But it was still a
Yeah.
fun like process to be able to go there and you audition. Like a lot of those shows are you have like all the producer rounds beforehand, like before you see what happens on TV. It's always like a like 3 producer rounds of when you sing for different producers of the show and then they kind of pick
Right.
who they want to see like for TV
Yeah, they
purposes.
can't have anybody bad on
Or
TV.
or they can, and that's good
Right.
too.
That is true, right? Because like you see like America's Got Talent and American Idol. Like if they think it's a
Mhm.
joke performance, they'll let you go. As long as you're not crazy. I think
And
that's kind of
yeah,
what they're testing, right? They
I
just don't want
guess.
it to be like a random like
Yeah.
just random nobody. Or I don't not nobody. I won't say nobody. Some nobodies can win the show.
Yeah.
But just crazy people, I guess.
Yeah. Something good for TV is the goal, I think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, like you could have won American Idol, I think.
Thanks.
I think you're that good. But yeah, I guess we can talk about Humber now. Because like
Sure.
that was a big decision in your life.
Mhm.
I know you were thinking about Ryerson too.
Yeah.
But that wouldn't have been a music program.
Mhm.
So I guess in some way you were considering like maybe not going the music route.
Yeah.
But I guess ultimately just talk to me about like that decision making process and why you ultimately chose to go to Humber.
Yeah. Like a really big decision for me. Also because like not that it wasn't about me like not doing music at all because the thing was do I want to have music as my literal degree that I spend that kind of time on
Right.
and do it as I'm doing it or do I want to keep it school and that separate because I don't know that was just my mindset at the time because I didn't know what I really wanted to do and you always kind of want to have a backup just in case and everything like that not that I've always been full steam ahead on the music thing but just in case like it's cool to have another degree just there in case you need it
For sure.
so that was kind of like my mindset at the time I also yeah, I was just thinking about like, okay, maybe like, do I take a year off and just do music and all of that? But yeah, there were definitely different programs that I was looking at. Definitely the Ryerson one, because that was like the music side of, the business side of the music industry, which I liked because
Okay.
it was like creative industries, which was cool. But yeah, I looked at a lot of things. I looked at law too. Yeah, just a bunch of different things. But ultimately I settled on Humber because I like, again, from people that I've known for since I was like 11, I've known so many people that have gone to that program and come out of it and that are in that program and the faculty, and just I know so much about it, and it just kind of seemed like I would be going there anyway.
Right.
That I kind of always knew. But yeah, it was a great decision for me. I think I just like, it's just I study music and that's something that I really love. And at the end of the day, I'm really happy to be doing that as my degree and getting up every day and being able to do that as my school. So yeah, it was a great decision for me, I
That's
think.
great to hear. And I
Mhm.
guess I can kind of relate to it as well, like being in sport media, like that's kind of my specialty.
Yeah.
And it doesn't feel like it's really schoolwork,
Yeah.
because like you're just doing it for yourself and like for
And you love it.
experience. And
Yeah.
exactly, it's fun work to do.
Mhm.
And like just doing this podcast, like it doesn't
Yeah,
feel like work. It's just a fun thing to do.
for sure.
Um, but yeah, how have you enjoyed, I guess, just the first 2 years at Humber in this music program? What are some of like your favorite classes? Because I don't really know like these specific music classes that you're taking. You're probably
Yeah.
taking some. I don't. First of all, I should probably say I don't know much about like the music terminology or anything like that.
Sounds good. No, you're great. You got it. You got it.
I
No.
got it.
I know every time I tell people like, "Oh, I'm taking your training," they're like, "I don't know what that is."
Yeah, no, you've definitely mentioned like a course to me before, and I had like
Yeah.
no idea. I had to look it up.
Aw. Oh my god. You can always ask me and be like, "Wait, what is that?"
I
I
probably
know.
I probably did, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, like what's been like your favorite class? And just
Yeah.
how have you enjoyed it?
Yeah, I loved it so far, and I think it's also weird because this whole last year I just finished second year, so I this whole last year was all online, so we couldn't go anywhere. We couldn't even go into school, which was like the weirdest thing. But yeah, I mean, I guess I could speak like for the in person for first year. I mean, it was challenging. Like it's challenging. It's a challenging program, because a lot of it's all your musicianship is tested there, right? So everything that you're used to. And also, this is kind of for me, it was not a challenge, but it was just something different because I'm, for me, the thing that I'm pursuing in life is music, and I want a career like as an artist kind of thing and as a songwriter. And this program is very much jazz. It's a jazz program that I'm in.
Hmm.
So it was really interesting to kind of like dive into my musicianship that way and kind of figure out what I'm good at and what I'm not so good at musically, or technically, as a, as a jazz singer too. So
Right.
it's kind of like a little, I wouldn't say separate, but it's just a little bit different of what I'm trying to be as an artist versus what I'm doing in school. So it's kind of just navigating through that for first year. But yeah, a lot of it's a challenging program, but it's so much fun, and the people there are awesome. Everybody is awesome, and everybody's just learning. Everybody's in the same boat. And it's so much fun to watch people grow into better musicians and go artistically. But I would say my favorite classes are probably a lot of our master classes. So basically, our master class is everybody who's in the same instrument. So all the vocalists will have their master class, and that'll
I
just
see.
be, yeah. So that'll be like, you have different units. So for example, this past year we did, like this semester we had a songwriting unit and we did a duo. So you are partnered up with another person,
I
and
know
then
what
you
that
guys,
means.
yeah. Okay.
Yeah. That sounds fun. You're just doing a
Yeah.
duet, right? Or
Yeah, it's a
coming up
duet.
with a song. Okay.
Exactly, and you're writing together, and then basically, well, like normally you would perform in person, and we have like basically a three-piece band, so a guitarist, pianist, and bass player, and we would give them the music, and then they play, and then we would sing like on the day, but we can't do that because it's COVID. So, yeah, basically we would just like record together, and then we present it to the class. So basically, master class is your performance class. It's you're working on different kind of areas. So we would do like a jazz vocalese where um you would take a song that's already been created and then put your own words on it or create your own music to it, like just different things like that. You're working on different aspects of jazz. So we have like this bebop assignment too, where you got to scat in whatever song you're doing and make a scat that has these like technical thing, like, so it's basically a performance class to test your performance skills and get those going. And that's one of my favorites because it's all the vocalists and we just have a great time. Yeah, it's really fun. And then I would say my other favorite classes, there's a lot of classes like theory or like ear training that are very technical. Ear training, I wouldn't say is my favorite, but it's definitely
Ear
been
training. Is that like
yeah,
mostly like listening, I assume? Like
yeah,
just
so
listening to
basically
songs? Okay.
it's literally not listening to songs. So it's like it's basically training your ear. So when you're playing as a musician, it's just what something that when you're playing on a gig is really important is your ear, right? Because if you're say like okay, perfect example. When I was doing that like spontaneous gig in London, right? I would just tell, she was like, okay, do you know the song? And I'm like, yeah. So she would start playing it. And then I like just found the key that it was in, like she didn't have to tell me, like I didn't have to listen to it. Like she started playing the chord and then I just knew what the starting note was, for example. Like you're just kind of training your ear that way, right? So a lot of it's very technical. So like some of the things that I'll say, probably like, you're like, why does that relate to anything? But it's basically just to get your ear going to recognize different musical things so that when you're on a gig or something, you'll have an easier time of navigating something that somebody gives you on the fly.
That's
right?
so cool that you can do that too. I didn't even realize like there's a class that teaches you how to read or to listen to different keys.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Yeah, and different keys, but it's also just like if I basically like if somebody plays a chord, like just like any chord, like being able to identify what that chord is and how many notes are in it, what those notes are, like it's just things like that are super like very super technical things that you would never like to somebody that's not a musician, you like wouldn't even think that was a thing. But
I don't think that was a thing.
Yeah, like super helpful. It's hard though. It's really hard. It's challenging.
It sounds hard, yeah.
Yeah, like just being tested on it. That's why a lot of times when I tell people like, oh, ear training's so hard, they're like, okay, like why would that be hard? Because a lot of people just think like, oh, you're just, like they just don't know what it means, right? So it's a very, oh my gosh, sorry. It's a challenging thing, but it's super interesting when you dive into it. Yeah, it's a really weird.
That might be like the most interesting course I've ever heard of. Like I had no idea that course existed. So Humber seems to be taking their music program very seriously then. And
They do.
it's pretty, is it like a strict program? Like, do they really want to like push you and like in terms of grades, like do you get like, do they give you great grades or do they want to give you lower grades to push you to do better? And because I know your program is probably like really, really talented, filled with a lot of talented people. How hard do the teachers like push you to do better and step up?
Yeah. What I love about that, like one of the reasons why that I actually chose Humber was because, I mean, like I said before, I knew a lot of people that have gone out of there and actually teach in the program as well. But the thing that I love about it is all those teachers and all those profs, like they all have something going on. So, and they're all very seasoned musicians that have been in the industry and been, playing for years and years and years and have done all the gigs and, they just have a lot of experience under their belt, which is so important when you're a teacher teaching music, right? Because you want somebody who really knows what they're talking about to be able to teach you. And saying that, they really, like, I would say all of them really care and they're very particular about what you're doing and they watch you, like they're very like they all want the best for you because some of them have actually been in the program, which is awesome too because they really know what it's about. But yeah, a lot of them, they just have a lot of experience and they really pay attention and they really want you to do your best. And that means they are hard markers. Like they don't just give easy grades. Like it's a very, because like, yeah, again, like sometimes, people, when you say like you're studying music, it's kind of something where people don't really realize how much weight people put on it, when you're in it.
It's the exact same thing for my program too.
Yeah, I
like
was gonna
sports,
say,
like,
yeah,
come on, you're learning about sports. Like, hey, there's a lot that goes into it. Like you probably wouldn't be able to do this if you just knew sports.
Yeah.
It's hard marking too, because they want you to do industry level standard, and that's probably what the exact same thing for you is.
100%. Yeah, that's like the whole misconception with the arts, right? Like any type of thing. And even like even sports and creative stuff like that you got like that you do, right? It's a lot of people don't really like if you're not in it, you don't really realize how much goes into it, you know? Like for me, I mean, our teachers at Humber, they're very they want you to do well and they expect a certain level, especially as you get up into the upper years. Like I'm going into third year now and it's all about recitals. And so taking what you've learned from the first 2 years and applying it to an actual real life situation where you're in a gig and playing, like it's all very geared to what you'll be doing in real life, you know, which I so appreciate. And I think it's amazing. It's hard in the moment, but yeah, like it takes a lot to be in a program like that and to be creative at the same time. But yeah, like all of them, faculty being them, they are hard markers, but it's just because they pay attention and they really want you to do well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I've noticed that with my program a lot too. There's a lot of similarities, just like because my teachers like and profs, like they work in the industry, so they know like they finish class, they're going to their job at like Sportsnet, TSN, CBC, so they know it and they want you to do well. And they teach us a lot, and I think that's definitely beneficial. That's what you want out of a university or college program, right?
100%. Yeah. Especially if you want to work there, like and it's awesome. Like it's awesome for you too, right? Because then you have that connection that you know. So if you ever like need that experience, you're like, oh, I know this. Like my prof used to work at TSN or whatever.
Yeah.
You just go to that person and be like, hey, do you have any? Like that's also like.
Yeah, I wish it was that easy. But no, you're right.
But you know, you always have that connection. You always have that person that you can. I don't know,
for
like
sure.
that knows you, right?
That's been like the premise of this podcast, like connections, right? Like that's what we were talking about at the beginning. Like you've made so many connections that you still talk to today, and like build good relationship with these people. Like be friendly to them, show that you're dedicated, show that you're interested, show that you're talented, and that you can work hard. And hopefully that your profs and teachers can see that, and then keep in touch with them. Obviously, don't lose contact. And you never know what can happen in a couple of years from now after we graduate. Our bosses instead of our teachers.
Exactly. And like for me, I mean, because you know how people like it's not like this in like the industries that we're in, but like because of what you just said. But a lot of people are like that are not in like these kind of industries. They're like, oh, you don't talk to anybody after university, or like you'll never see these people again. Like why, but it's not true. Like literally exactly what you just said. It's like these people, like my professors, like Humber, like literally the first thing you hear when you're on orientation day. Like I remember we were all sat down and they're like, if you do anything with this program, just use it to make connections. Like that's literally your goal, is to use these connections, like make friends and use them. And it's so true. Like a lot of the professors, again, like they're doing stuff outside. So exactly like what you said with yours, like they're finished school, they're finished teaching, they're going to their jobs, right?
Right.
So it's exactly the same for us. Like a lot of my professors will have gigs on the weekend at like all the jazz bars, and they're on the radio, like jazz radio, and they're composing and they're doing all these things. And then a lot of people, they know the students, right? So if they need somebody to play trombone or they need a vocalist to do backup on a record, like the students are the people that they can go to, right? Like it's the same. And like I just played a gig last year where I had people, like one of the bass player and I think the guitarist went to Humber together like years and years ago, and they were like, oh my god, I remember you went to Humber, right? Like like you'll always see these people and you'll always like keep in touch with them. So I love that. It's just it's awesome, but it's true. Like you gotta build the connections now.
100%. Yeah, like friends as well, like your fellow classmates, like keep them close, because they might get to a higher point. They could help you out in life. Like just keep a good relationship with as many people as you can. I think that's probably the message to take out of that.
Yeah. And this podcast too. That's the message.
Exactly. That's the whole premise of the podcast. Connections.
Connections.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you a question earlier, because you touched on like jazz is basically most of your program. But how would you describe yourself as an artist? Like I know you're pop, You're
Mhm.
mostly pop, I would say, or I could be wrong because I
No,
don't know that much
no,
about
no,
the music
you
term. But
can.
how would you describe Shanaya Patel as an artist?
Mhm. I would say, I mean, to give you a visual, I'm the type of person that will write all her songs in her studio, my secret hideaway in my studio, and just write about my life. Just very relatable pop, like relatable with a sense of pop, I would say. Is like kind of the
Relatable.
vibe I'm
Okay.
going for.
It's a
It's
new
very
genre.
yeah, it's very like singer-songwritery, very I would say a mesh between singer-songwriter and pop is what I'm going for. Yeah.
Is that like kind of like a Olivia Rodrigo type kind of vibe?
100% on.
Ariana Grande?
Yeah, exactly. I would say like the big, yeah. The artist I would say would be a fusion between Ariana Grande, Olivia Rodrigo, and Alessia Cara or Julia Michaels. Yeah.
I mean, those are some great artists.
Yeah,
So
my favorites. And yeah, and like I know so like I mean sometimes it's hard to say like what you're I guess like when you're asked to describe yourself, like it's kind of hard sometimes because for me, like I'm always growing, right? And my music is always changing. And from Alone, I mean the things that I'm writing now and the vibe that's happened has changed, right? So there's so many things that are changing. So sometimes it's kind of hard to describe. But yeah, that's what I would say. Those kind of artists mesh together. Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lot to live up to, but I think you can get there. I really do think you can get there. And that's a really cool vibe. That's a really cool vibe
Thank
if you
you.
kind of like mesh them all together like that. So, yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I want to talk about Alone. I want to talk about Alone because I think
Sure.
that's a big conversation.
Yeah.
I don't think I'm jumping into it too quickly. I think
No,
we've covered
we've covered a
enough.
lot.
We've covered a lot. So
Yeah.
yeah, this is obviously probably like the biggest moment, I guess, in your music career
Mhm.
up to the date,
Yeah.
releasing this song Alone. And it
Mhm.
was a banger. It's
Thank
a
you.
really good song.
Thanks.
I literally have the question written down in my notes. How do you make a song? I literally wrote that down in my notes, but I'm not gonna be
Yeah.
that vague with it
No,
because I know
no.
obviously like there's the songwriting process and then there's the time in the studio and the editing and all the different mixing of audio track and stuff and
Yeah.
publishing it. So I kind of understand that part, but how long did it take you to write this song? And I guess we'll start with there because I know it's a long process, but how
Yeah.
long did it take you to just write it?
I think it took me it didn't take me long. I think it was like a matter of weeks. I don't
Okay.
think it was any longer than 2 or 3 weeks.
So that's like every day
Yeah,
working on it.
because the thing was when I wrote that song, and I didn't release it till the year after. So I wrote it like the year before, so 2019
So
in
high
April.
school.
Last year of high school, grade 12, because we had this project at the end of grade 12 where we had to put on a recital, and I really wanted to sing an original song, but I didn't have one that I wanted for that recital. So I just decided to write one, but I only had like a few days to do it because I decided late. So that was like a crunch time of why it didn't take that long for me to write.
Oh, so
Yeah.
wait, days. It took you days to write?
Okay, no.
Well,
It was like no, okay. I think it was like a week. Maybe
okay.
a week. Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I would say a week. I know.
That's so
I
really
just changed my
impressive.
answer completely. Sorry. Um, no, yeah. It was a week. Yeah. Cause I don't know. Sometimes when you write songs, it like songs can be written in 5 minutes or 5 months or like
Right.
5 years. You know, there's never like a specific time frame for a specific song. Like it's very like if it just hits you in the moment, you can write a song in like 5 minutes. So that yeah, it was like it wasn't yeah, it was quick. It was really quick to write that. Like the
5
actual
minutes.
sitting down and writing. Huh? Yeah.
5 minutes.
Literally.
I'm just trying to
Yeah.
think like could I write a song in 5 minutes?
You can do it.
That'd be great. Like
100%.
how many songs did you grind out? Like you could get a whole like playlist if you really wanted to.
Yeah, if the inspiration is there, you definitely can.
For sure.
I've written songs really fast, like because also like the greatest songs you'll ever hear are sometimes written like in 5 minutes. Because sometimes they're
the
really
idea is so fresh, right?
the
Like
idea's
off
there,
your head.
and if it's catchy and you have the hook already, which is like the chorus, like yeah, sometimes it's really easy. Sometimes it's really hard. Yeah.
Did you start writing Alone from like beginning to end, or did you like come up with the chorus first, or like the ending first, or?
Yeah, I actually wrote the second verse first, I would say.
Okay. All
Well,
right.
actually, I had the chord progression in my head for a really long time. And then I kept playing it and I was like, I couldn't write anything over it. And then one day I just had like this inspiration hit and I wrote the second verse first. And then I wrote the chorus and then everything else. And then, yeah, so it wasn't like a top to bottom thing for me. It was very like, it was weird.
Like
Yeah,
scattered.
second verse, chorus, first verse, bridge. Yeah, the bridge was
Okay.
last. But yeah, it was very scattered, but definitely the second verse was written first. Yeah.
That must have been like a tough, I guess, decision making process, like where to put each verse. Because like
Yeah.
if you wrote the second verse first, at the time you didn't know it was the second verse. You would think maybe that's the beginning, or did you know like, hey, this is gonna be at the end. This is gonna be the second part.
I think oh my gosh. I think I knew it was the second verse when I was writing.
Wow, that's
Yeah.
impressive.
I mean sometimes you got it, like sometimes you just feel it, you know? Yeah, it's just I really felt it. But also sometimes when I write and when I do a lot of things, like I like to do stuff from top to bottom just because it feels better, you know? Like when you're just starting from the beginning where you're supposed to start and then working your way. But yeah, that was like so yeah, I definitely knew it was the second verse at the time. Yeah. But it was kind of I didn't like to do that, but it was. Like you could just tell that it was the second verse.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's cool.
I
I guess
know.
that's
It's
something
weird to say.
only yeah.
I
That's
know.
something only
You have to feel
musicians
it.
would figure out. Like that quickly too. Like writing it like this is the second
Mhm.
verse of the song.
Yeah.
But like it was a great song.
Thank
What was like I'm sure like the people's reaction to it was great, and
you.
it's gotten quite a few plays on Spotify and YouTube, and then you shot the music video as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, what was kind of like your like you must have been bombarded with like messages and stuff afterwards. So like what was that like for you to receive all that I guess love for the song?
Yeah, it was amazing. And it was also a really scary time just because like when you write a song, it's like a baby, right? It's like you spend
Your
all this
first
time with
one.
it, right? Exactly. And it's your first one. So it was really nerve-wracking, I think, to just be like, oh my God, like everybody I know is gonna hear this. And you know, because like it's also like very personal. So sometimes it's just really like a scary thing to be like, oh my God, like I wrote this song like very safely and now everybody's gonna hear it. But it was a really great experience. And I remember like when it came out because I was doing a live with one of my good friends, Devo, and we were doing a live when it came out. And just like like the comments that were coming up of like, oh my God, I'm listening to it right now. And like all my friends texting me screenshots and just putting it on their stories. And like it is just so surreal and like it was just it was amazing. Like I don't I it was kind of like it left me speechless, clearly. Um left me speechless. It was, yeah, I'm just really grateful for that. And it was so cool to see, you know, and also when you put something on Spotify or YouTube or anywhere, right, you can always see what countries are listening to it. So to be able to have people in like Russia and obviously
Yeah.
India and, you know, like Africa and just different places around the world that you sometimes don't even know people in that just find your song. Like it's so cool. And it's the coolest feeling in the world. But it was I was super grateful for everybody who listened to it and who was, just taking it in. It was a really awesome time. It was a really awesome experience.
Yeah, I feel like
Yeah.
it was like that week for you. Like after you wrote it, like every day on your Instagram story, it was like promoting it or a
Yeah.
repost of like someone else promoting it. And then
Yeah.
you did a couple live streams, I think, that week
Mhm.
as well. I remember being on that
Yeah.
one with Devo, I think,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and like commenting and stuff. And I messaged you like I think the day after or something, like this should be on the radio like tomorrow. Like
Oh,
it's that good. It could have been on the
you.
radio and it should have been on
Mhm.
the radio.
Mhm.
Um, but I wanted to get into like some of the lyrics a little bit too.
Sure.
Like
Oh.
what was like the story behind it, if you
Mhm.
can even speak on it. Like what was the inspiration to write the song?
Yeah. The song is about just being in a relationship with someone or something, and it's just kind of really just playing with your emotions. Sometimes that person or that thing can make you really happy and sometimes they can make you cry. And it's really this like I think I say that, I say this, like just this push and pull effect of just being,
Yeah.
reeled in. And then sometimes you just want to let go because you're like, I've had enough of this. And it's ultimately like that feeling of just like, honestly, I'd rather be alone than to have to go on any longer like this. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah, I get that.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I got the lyrics here. It's on genius.com. Gee,
Yeah.
this is a big deal. This is a song. This is a banger of a song.
Thanks.
But yeah, no, it's definitely like really relatable, I would say.
Mhm.
Cause like
Yeah.
so many people like go through this and like
Yeah,
it's tough like being in that situation.
for sure.
I'm trying to think. Yeah, here's a lyric that I definitely wanted to touch on. Like, so you say like, I'm so tired of this every day, right? And
Oh
then
my
it's like, I
God,
want it to
sing it.
stop, but you take it
Yeah.
out, but you take it out of my control anyway. So
Yeah.
I was curious, like, what is that? What were you trying to say? Like, I want it to stop, but you take it out of my control anyway.
Yeah. So I feel like at the time, like that specific situation or whatever, sometimes like obviously again like it's that push and pull thing, so you really want it to stop and you just kind of want to let it go, but sometimes it's like if it can feel like it's very out of your control, like that person or that thing just has like this power over the emotion,
Right.
um and it's just kind of that feeling of being like overpowered of making that decision of letting go.
I get it. Yeah. Okay.
I don't know if I explained that well,
No,
but
that was good. That's kind of what I was thinking. That was like the only lyric that I was like, okay, what does she mean really by
yeah.
this?
It's that just like that feel it's hard to, like, write that because
Yeah.
it's something that you don't see. Oh my god. It's something that you don't see. You're kind of just that's just the feeling that it has,
Uh-huh.
because you can't physically see that, like, power that situation holds over you. You can
Right.
only feel it.
Uh-huh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lyrics. Like, this is a really good song.
Thank you.
Like, chorus was great. Second verse you wrote first.
Yeah.
Like, it's some really good stuff. I know, like, I've been messaging you a lot, like saying like,
Yeah.
where's more music? Like, when are we gonna get more music? Because like
I know,
I
you and
need
a lot
more.
of people. Yeah.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
what is like next? And I
Mhm.
want to touch on something else with Alone after, but
Sure.
what is like next for you, and when can we expect another song to be released?
Yeah, I mean, since Alone, I've been really diving into writing a lot, especially over quarantine because it's been like a kind of I hate to say this because it sounds just not right for the time, but sometimes it's like kind of like a dream because for a musician anyway, to be able to just have the time to sit down and really hone in on your skills and really dive into what you love to do, because a lot of time, like, I didn't have this kind of time in 2019 or early 2020, um to be able to just sit down and write, and the amount of things that I've written in this time is crazy. um so anyways, I've been really diving into writing, been writing a lot, especially this last year. As for when things are coming, the only thing I can say, I don't even
It's in the works. It's in
it's
the
in the
works.
works. It's in the works. But like I mean that. I really mean that it's in the works. You can go to my socials and TikTok because I post all the time about new original stuff that I've been writing and just snippets and stuff. So if anybody wants to go
Yep.
see more of that, it's all on there. And I do that like every day, literally every day on TikTok. So you can like hear
It's
the
all in the
snippets and stuff.
description.
Yeah.
All of
Okay,
Shania's stuff
cool.
will be in the description, so don't
Yeah,
worry about
so
that.
head to my socials because all of that is on there. You can hear different snippets and tell me if you like the snippets that you're hearing so I can continue them. But yeah, it's all in the works. I've been writing a lot, a lot, a lot. And I have a lot of things lined up this summer in terms of writing with different people and songwriters and producers. So it's all in the works. But yeah, I would say to see more, just follow along on my socials because that's the best place to be. Yeah.
All right. Well, yeah, all that stuff's gonna be down there. So yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for what's next. Now
Thank you.
I'm hyped to see what you got coming.
Yeah.
But yeah, Alone
Mhm.
recently was entered in a pretty big competition.
Mhm.
CBC's Music Searchlight is what it's called. How
Yes.
did you get like into this competition in the first place? Is this something that you auditioned for or entered, or did CBC reach out to you in it?
Yeah.
How did it come about?
So you can enter into it. Basically, you just kind of give CBC all the info on the song, And yeah, you can enter it in, and they put it up there for everybody to vote. And it's a really cool initiative that they do every year. And there's the thing I love about it is like there's so many different artists and different people, and I have some friends on there as well, some artist friends that I know. But it's a great way to get exposure and great way to share, your music with people. But yeah, so basically you enter in to the competition, and your song and your bio and everything goes up there with your socials and a picture, and everybody can vote. So you can vote one time a day, every day until the 20th, I believe, is the next round.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love CBC, and I love that they do this every year. And I think it's sponsored by Toyota. I think.
Yes. Yeah, I saw that. Toyota.
Yeah.
Yeah. Let's try and get 4.2 million votes on this one, right?
Let's try to beat the MTV one. Yeah. 4.2. Yeah.
So where can people go to vote for this? I'll put a link in the description, but it's on your Instagram, I believe.
It's on my Instagram. It's in my bio. But you can type in on Google CBC Searchlight, and it'll come up the first one, and then you basically just search my name into the artist name search thing.
Yep. Search bar.
Search bar. Thank you. Yeah, you basically just type Shanaya Patel into the search bar, and then my page will come up, and then you can press vote, and you can vote one time a day till the 20th. Yeah.
I got to vote today. I voted the last 2 days, so I got to vote. I got to vote today. Do you know how many people have entered in this competition?
Oh my God, I think it's a lot. I feel like this is a big number, but I think it's like 2,500, which is a lot.
Okay. That is a lot.
Yeah, that is.
And it's only one winner?
Yes. I think it's only one, but there are runner-ups.
Right.
Who get not sort of the same, but like different kinds of prizes that kind of are like the first one.
So if it's sponsored by Toyota, do you win a car if you win first place?
That would be nice, eh? I don't think it's a car. No, it's not a car. It's a lot of like Juno master classes. You get a spot.
That's probably better for you. You already have a car, so you can.
A Volkswagen Beetle, love it. Yeah.
The classes would be more beneficial then, and
definitely. And I think you get like studio time, and yeah, it's a really great first prize. Yeah. But
that's great.
If you want to vote, please click the link and vote for me.
Definitely vote for Shania there. It's all going to be in the description. I think we're like nearing the end, but I don't know. Like it's been a great show so far. I got to say, it's been really, really fun. I'm surprised I've been able to talk about music this much, or like you've been doing most of the talking too, but like
I know, sorry, I've been talking so much.
No. No, you're the guest. I want you to talk. But yeah, let's go past the CBC thing now and just talk about like music in quarantine, because you brought it up before. Like this whole lockdown thing has kind of been like a shining light for you in some way. Like even though there's been so much negatives with COVID, you kind of look at this in a positive way, and I can see that too. Like I don't know if I would have started this podcast honestly if it wasn't for COVID. So. And like we were talking about it earlier, like this time is now the time to just work on yourself and the things you got going on, and really try and advance your work in the best way possible.
Sure.
So has it been like any challenge for you, like making music during this time, or is it just all positives? Like you're working in your studio, or has it been tough, like not seeing your classmates, not going out as much, doing gigs? So yeah, just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. It's definitely been a weird time, and there's a lot of negatives going on right now in the world, and it's a super, especially, just putting out something, whether it's, putting out music or even sometimes like just doing socials, anything like a live stream or something, especially in that like really really rough time, because it's been a rough time, but like especially during the start of COVID where everybody's just like nobody knows what's going on, it can be like really weird to put out something kind of positive. But I mean, there has been a lot of negatives, but for me, honestly, there've been so much positivity in this, because I think, like I said before, I didn't really have a lot of time, like the time that I have now, to be able to write and just focus on a lot of things that I needed to focus on that I didn't really have time for before. In the school aspect, definitely it's been really weird to have a whole year online, which I'm sure everybody can relate to that's in school. Yeah, just because also when you're a musician, I mean, your whole, especially my whole degree, everything is about playing with people, right? So you lose that entirely when you're online. It's really rough. And like I'm sure for you too, like even being able to collaborate with your classmates on projects and stuff like that, because I know you were telling me that you had that documentary that you had to do and it was, you know, a group effort. So
Yeah.
it's definitely different to not be able to play. But I mean, honestly, for Humber, like I think everybody did the best they could. I still really learned a lot. And I would say it was good in the sense that I had time to practice, you know, instead of like always, you know, going out and everything like that, you had time to just be there and actually devote proper time to practicing and honing in on your skills. So I would say that was a big positive for me. But yeah, in terms of like my music career and songwriting and artistically, so much positivity, but also a lot of learning and growing in that time too, where it was challenging to kind of be like, okay, these are the things that I really want to focus on and that maybe I haven't been so good at in the past. But it's allowed, yeah, but this time has allowed me to really dive into writing and connect with people that I haven't in a while. And I mean, like just this past few months, I've done so many songs and worked with so many people that I haven't really connected with in the past, or haven't connected with for a long time. So yeah, and I've been able to meet new people, obviously virtually. But yeah, it's been a lot of positives for me, just allowing myself to have this time to write and hone in on my skills and focus on my socials and focus on all of this because I have this outlet and I'm really grateful to have this outlet in this time. So it's been really positive for me in this negative
Yeah.
time, I would say. Yeah.
That's really good that you found the positive out of this. And I think that's
Yeah,
what a lot of people have struggled with, you know, finding things to keep busy,
for sure.
but you've definitely kept busy and you're working hard.
Yeah.
At the start of this lockdown, did you have like some goals in place that you wanted to accomplish and that you may have accomplished already now?
Mhm.
And then just maybe jumping off of that, like what are your future goals? Like
Yeah.
where do you ultimately want to take your career in music?
Yeah. At the start, for the first question, I mean, at the start of quarantine, I feel like that kind of really hit because that was actually the time, the day before we were like locked down for the first time. So I think March 12th, because the 13th was everything shut down. The
Right. Yep.
the 12th was the day that I shot the video for Alone. And so
Wow.
yeah, like I was still in that whole like that time frame. So for everything to just shut down that one day, it's like, well, what do we do now? Because like you can't go anywhere to perform. You can't like it just completely. I mean, yeah, like you know, like everybody knows, like
It
everything
ended.
was shut
Yeah.
down completely. Everything
Mhm.
just ended. So we were like I was like, what do I do now? You know. Um, but it wasn't too long after that I was like, okay, look, I have all this time to do the things I need to do and do the things I want to do. So I don't know if I exactly had a plan, but as time went on, I was like, okay, I want to accomplish this now and I'm doing this, so let's do this. So basically my goal was a few of my goals were to kind of really solidify who I am a little more as an artist and what I want to be doing, and then just write more and get into that. Because the artist that I am now was very different from where we were a year ago, you know?
That's exciting stuff to hear.
Yeah,
Because that's
it's
before
super
you
different.
wrote Alone then. So you've come a long, long way then.
Yeah, like when Alone was released was January 2020. So yeah, last year, very beginning of last year. And
Right.
it's changed so much since then. And just the things that I'm writing, the songs I'm writing now, and just everything is done differently, I would say. So there was a lot of
Okay, so there's
growing
a bit of a
period.
sneak peek maybe to what's coming
Yeah,
next.
yeah. Head to my socials. I'm telling you, like
Yeah, right, right, right.
all the snippets are there. But yeah, like there's lots have been going on, and yeah, the vibe has changed a little bit, and the songs are different, and yeah, it's a lot of growing. But yeah, for my goals, I mean, just to be able to write more and to solidify that. Um, And as I got on, I mean, the amount of songs I wanted to accomplish in this time and, you know, just stuff like that. And then as for my future goals, I mean, sometimes like when I say this, it's like, oh, I want to be like Ariana Grande, like that kind of caliber of artist. And some people are like, okay, you know, but that's the dream, you know, that's the kind of artist I want to is be able to transcend into all of these different times. You know, if you think about the longevity of like having a long career is like basically what I want to achieve and be able to do. Like if you think about like Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber is a perfect example because he's, you know, been an artist since he was like really small, like I think 14 or 15, right?
From our area too, close by.
Exactly, Stratford. Yeah, like he's from here, and to be able to still be on like one of the top artists in the world, and like have always had it, like that's the kind of I want that longevity of career. I think that's really cool, and yeah, I just want to be able to perform my songs and write songs and have people enjoy them and be able to share that and perform all over the world. Like that's the coolest thing to me ever would be to do that for my job. So yeah.
That would be unbelievable. I like if you can definitely do it. Like that's the thing. Like people might say like you're crazy for thinking that you can be like Ariana Grande. Like you have the talent to be able to do that, and you have the connections. It seems now to be able to take your goals to the next level. And if I happen to be talking to the next Ariana Grande right now, that would be unbelievable. That'd be a pretty cool movement on this podcast.
On this podcast,
remember, calling it right now. Shanaya Patel is the next Ariana Grande.
Or the first Shanaya Patel. Then,
even better. Exactly right. You're the only. Well
Shanaya
said. That is very well said. The Shanaya Patel is Shanaya Patel, and this is. Yeah, Shanaya Patel is like Shanaya Patel 10.0. like you're gonna turn into that. Like you're gonna turn into like best of the best.
Yeah.
Speaking of other artists, who do you think is like the best artist in music right now?
Oh my gosh. I mean, there's so many. The best artist is I'm like such a like music nerd. I'm like, okay, in what aspect? Like songwriting?
Right. Yeah. No, I was thinking that too. Like you're definitely overanalyzing this.
No.
What about your favorite?
Yeah. No, I would say, I mean, Ariana Grande's always been one of my favorites. And I think she's just, I'm such a nerd again. Like artistically, musically, vocally, I mean, she's like one of the most talented vocalists I've ever heard. I think she's so, she's just like so effortlessly cool. But if you really like she's been on Broadway, and I don't think a lot of people know that. Like she's just had she's had a lot of experience, and she's just vocally and artistically really cool. But I love her music, and I think her whole aesthetic is so cool. And also she's like the #1 pop star in the whole wide world, which is literally the best artist in the world, right? But
yeah, true.
She's one of my favorites. Justin Bieber's always one of my favorites, has been since I was like whenever my crush of him started.
Yeah.
As little
Bieber
like,
fever.
Bieber fever, exactly. Yeah, that he's always been one of my favorites, and I think his music is crazy amazing, and he's an awesome writer, vocalist as well. I really love Khalid.
Okay.
I think he's so cool. Love the aesthetic. Oh my gosh. There's like Shawn Mendes.
Oh yeah, how could you forget about him?
Yeah. Also one of my favorites. Really sweet human, very nice.
How many times have you met him?
I met him once. But I've seen a lot of his shows. Like I think I've seen every show of his that, like, not every show, but like every like tour. I've seen a show from every tour of his. So I've like been able to actually see him live grow, and that's so cool. But yeah, and his music is great too. And he's from Toronto, which is fun. So yeah. And The Weeknd and Drake. There's so many. Yeah.
And all like most of them are Canadian that you named. So
yeah,
we got a lot of talent up here.
Yeah, Alessia Cara, Julia Michaels. There's so many. There's
crazy.
So many. Not Julia Michaels. Julia Michaels is not Canadian, but I also love her. Yeah.
Right. And you gotta love her for the cover, right? You did the cover. It blew up.
Awesome. And her, and her songwriting too. That's also like one of my go-tos for songwriting, my favorite artists, just because her songwriting's so honest.
Okay, right. It's like, relatable. Yeah, I can see that.
Relatable.
What's your favorite song at the moment?
Oh my gosh. Another hard question. Oh my gosh. Oh, I don't know. My favorite song.
Or like what's on your playlist? Like your top 3 songs or whatever. Like what's your go-to?
this is also still hard. Like every time somebody asks me this, I like have to go to my Spotify. I'm like, okay, what do I listen to? I
Like
would
your
say,
Spotify Wrapped. Like what
yeah.
does Spotify say is my number one
What
favorite
does
song?
Spotify say? Because I listen to so much music. I don't know. Okay, I would say probably. Okay, what have I been listening to? A lot of The Weeknd. I've been listening to a lot of
Okay.
Weeknd stuff. I love Save Your Tears. That's just a
Yeah,
I don't
that's
know,
a good
that's
one.
always in my
Super
head.
Bowl, performed at the Super Bowl. Actually, did they? Yeah, they did.
Yeah. Yeah.
They didn't perform I Feel It Coming, I think. Or they didn't perform
I
one
think
of
he
them.
did
I
like a
forget.
medley of all of
Oh
the
yeah, yeah.
hits. Yeah. I don't remember. Yeah, I think
There was one that that he missed, but
really?
he performed like all the there was one. I forget which one it was.
Oh,
But yeah.
yeah.
Save Your Tears
Yeah.
is a great one. I hear it on the radio all the time.
Yeah.
Uh
I really like this is so hard. I can't. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, my favorites right now, just the whole Justin Bieber album, his new album. is
okay.
so cool. I just love his whole album.
Yeah. I love how like obviously big Leafs fan. Like I know how
Yeah.
like the relationship between like Matthews and
Yes.
Bieber. Like
Yeah.
I love how that's like gotten public and like people
I
can
know.
actually like see the behind the scenes stuff and like Matthews reposting Bieber's songs on his stories.
Yeah.
Like
And they go
Austin
live
Matthews
together. It's so
yeah,
funny.
I know.
It's so awesome to watch.
It's so cool to see Matthews like being a big Bieber fan. And
Right?
like did you see that like Leafs love story that Bieber put out on his
Yeah.
Instagram with
Yeah.
Hold
Yeah.
On?
Yeah. Yeah. So cool. I watch that all the time. It's
Yeah.
I agree. Like I love their whole relationship. I think it's so funny. It's so cute.
Yeah.
Like it's I love seeing them as friends. And yeah, I love that. And I also really like especially like Drake. Like, you know, when they have that like relationship between like the biggest teams of
Yeah, I
our
was just gonna say
country.
like
Yeah.
the Raptors, they got Drake, they got Drizzy, and then the Leafs now have Justin Bieber, and like
Yeah.
because like Justin Bieber's like I feel like he does well. If we want to talk a little bit of sports,
Sure.
like well,
yeah.
it's not really sports, but like I'm just saying like when the Raptors went on their championship run in like 2019, like you
Mhm.
see Drake like occasionally posting stuff about the Raptors like at the right time, like after the big Kawhi shot, which was like
Okay.
the two-year anniversary yesterday actually.
I know we watched it again. I watched it
Did you
again.
watch it?
Yeah, we
Wow.
watched it again yesterday. Just because it's such a good moment. Like that's
The whole game or just the
No,
like
I
the,
think I just watched like the highlights of that shot, like just
right.
before the shot. Yeah.
Yeah, no, what a crazy
Excitement.
moment. But yeah, like Justin Bieber, like some of the posts that he does on the Leafs, like he just posts like the Toronto Maple Leaf logo, like after a big win.
Yeah.
Just like no caption, just the Leafs
Nothing.
logo.
He just posts
Yeah.
the logo. And people like go crazy. It's so funny. Yeah.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so cool to see like big name celebrities kind of like
Mhm.
backing us up, and
Yeah.
it's an exciting time
It's so cool.
for
Toronto's it.
Toronto. Yeah. Leafs start playoffs next week. Should be
I know.
should be big.
So crazy.
What here, let's see where we can go because I only got a few more questions. If you could meet anyone in the music industry, who would it be? And I know you've met Shawn Mendes already, but like who else? Would it be Bieber? Like you've said your favorite artists. But
Yeah.
anyone else?
I would say, yeah, definitely Justin Bieber. I think Drake's always been one that I just think is so fascinating. Him as a human being, I think he's so cool. And I just love to meet him. I would just love to have dinner with him. Like, you know, that question, like, who would you have dinner with, like, dead or alive, you know? I would
Right.
just love to meet Drake. I think he's so cool. And I just ask him, like, all the questions in the world about the music industry. Yeah. Him or Ariana Grande, because I feel like they're also just, like, really big, but they've, like, that's like that's my dream, you know? So I think they would be like super cool to meet and just ask like everything about their lives.
Yeah, that'd be pretty crazy if you met Drake or had a dinner with Drake. Like that'd be a long dinner, I think.
Yeah.
You wouldn't want to leave.
I would hope so. I don't want to leave his $100 mansion, $100 million mansion
Yeah, true.
with the basketball court and the like everything you could ever have.
The people that you would see at the mansion too that night, I'm sure it just wouldn't be him. Like you'd see like all of the friends or who knows who'd you meet. Maybe Justin Bieber is there.
Probably.
Did you hear Bieber and DJ Khaled's new song? You probably did.
I didn't.
No? You didn't? Okay.
I know. I should have.
I haven't
listened to it yet.
I haven't listened to it either. I was gonna say, do you want to react to it? Do you want to react to it like right now?
Wait, are you gonna play the video too? Because I heard the video is really funny.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Wait,
like
hold
I'll put the video like on screen.
Okay. Oh, I'm
Alright.
excited.
All right, cool.
Love this.
Yeah, I'll search it up quickly. It's called like, is it Let It Go? It's
I
like,
think it's
or Let Me Go, or no, that's your song. Let Me Go. Let It Go.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber.
Let it go.
It's like a Frozen spinoff.
I mean, that'd be sick.
Okay, hold on. I got an ad.
All good.
Number 1 on trending for music.
Not surprised. As it
All right.
should.
You got it pulled up?
Okay. Wait, you have to share your screen, right?
Oh,
Are you gonna share the screen, or do you want me to pull it up too?
Yeah, pull it up.
Okay,
yeah,
okay,
if I share my screen, the video is gonna be so laggy.
Oh, got it. Okay.
So I'll just put like the video on the screen, like in the edit.
Sure. Oh yeah. Okay. I love when that happens.
Yeah. 5 minutes. So it can't all be song. But
No, definitely not.
I'm excited. This is like your live reaction.
I know. I've never done this before.
Okay. All right.
Okay, let it go, right? Okay, wait. Are we gonna be like 3, 2, 1, press play?
Yeah,
wait,
exactly.
Hold on.
Yeah. Just like drag it to 0 and yeah, we'll just do like 3, 2, 1.
Okay. I'm at 0. Okay, you say 3, 2, 1.
Okay, so I'll say 3, 2, 1, go, and then press it on go. All right.
Got it. Yeah.
Okay. 3, 2, 1, go. All right. That's golf carts.
I love him.
DJ Khaled is so funny.
He's so funny.
Okay.
Got the sprinklers.
I miss golf. It's gotta open up
soon.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
The hair.
It's kind of a different vibe, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, I love it. Oh. Wait, I need to take an earphone off for this. Oh my god.
All right, Bieber, okay.
Let's see what he can do.
All right, I think you got it. No? Yeah?
Yes?
Did it hit a bird?
Crowd surprise.
Oh. Oh.
You're on.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
Definitely not edited.
Oh my, Leafs jersey.
Yeah, you got the Leafs jersey.
Oh my god, the crumble cookies.
Is he like his coach?
I know. Imagine having that be your hype man.
Yeah.
That'd be the best. Okay, but where's the song?
Yeah, where is it? Where is the song? I mean, it's 5 minutes long, this thing. Oh, he's got the Gilmore jersey. Oh, I think I saw that on his Instagram. Okay. Has DJ Khaled had a verse yet?
I don't think he has verses. No, like actually, I don't.
Be the best music. That's all.
That's all he says, because he's a producer.
All right, true. Okay, it's a pretty good song.
I like it. Very vibey. Like I would listen to this.
All right, here comes 21. I think. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, the Canes? What?
Wow,
oh
look at that car. Yeah, or that cart. Oh, he's got the hockey stick now.
Oh, that's how I would play golf.
Yeah. Jeez. This chorus is great.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Oh, I see this on Instagram.
Oh, really? Oh, no.
Snippet.
Oh, God.
Oh, Justin said.
Oh.
My God.
Okay.
Oh, get him.
Yeah, those are some heavy punches. Wow, he got him.
Oh, my God. Oh.
What? Oh, my gosh. This is jokes, actually.
This is so funny. Your family. Now it's nighttime. Okay.
Is it like the concept like 21 Savage versus Khaled and Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
Right. Yo, these golf carts
good.
are crazy.
I know, that's the kind of one I want.
Yeah. I thought that said
Oh,
fiance.
I know, me too. He's so funny. Another one.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. Oh my God. He's still running.
Yo, oh my goodness.
Love it.
That
Oh
was
my
so
God. I love it.
Jeez.
That was fun to live react.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Love
That's
it.
a great song. I got to put that
It
on my
is.
playlist like right now.
I know, my driving playlist. Not that I'm going
Yeah.
anywhere anymore, but
True. You can still go on drives.
you can still, drive around the block. Go to
Exactly.
Starbucks. Go to, I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know. I feel like that's a kind of a good way to wrap up the show. So,
Yeah.
yeah, Shania, I want to thank you a lot for coming on. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on or say or shout out like everything you got going on right now? Like where can people find you at and what do you want me to put in the description?
Sure. Yeah, you can find me on all my socials. So you literally just type in my name on Google even. But yeah, on anything Instagram, it's at Shanaya Patel. So SHANAYAZ Patel PATEL. On Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. YouTube is just Shanaya Patel. Yeah, any TikTok, anything like that is always Shanaya Patel. Yeah. Follow me on all my socials. That's like the best way to keep up with me, to hear all my snippets and the new stuff that's coming out and to know about it. On my website too, shanayapatel.com. And what else? Yeah. You can follow me on Spotify, Shanaya Patel.
Right? Yep.
Yeah. Just everything, every social, just type in my name, Shanaya Patel. Please vote on CBC Searchlight till the 20th. You can vote every day, once a day till the 20th.
Yes. Yeah. Vote for Shania. She deserves this. The link will be in the description, so check that out right away. Yeah, that does it for the show. It was an unbelievable show. Follow at Unlimited Pod on Instagram. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Like the video. Show Shania a lot of love in the comment section, and on all of her social media. So that does it for episode 50. 50 episodes done on the podcast. Cheers to some more episodes coming soon. Leafs got the playoffs next week, so I will be covering a ton of that stuff. And yeah, that does it. Thank you once again, Shania. And we will see you guys later. Take care and peace.